The music news for the streets, the music news for your beats, the news for the music stuff that you gonna need. We gon' talk about plugins, we gon' talk about gear. If it's news on this music, we gon' talk about it here. Let's go.
What up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your guy, Something. Hit the keys. Here today to do a quick review and demonstration over the AKAI MPC Key 37. Basically, I'm just gonna give you guys my initial impressions after having it for about 48 hours. I definitely wanna give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that is Zounds. It's a great place where you guys can get gear. If you're looking to get this board and you may not have the dollars for it, you can go ahead and get it there without any credit check, and you can set up a payment plan, which is dope. Don't worry, Zounds has no control over anything that I'm gonna say in this video, so everything I'm about to say comes from the heart. So why did I wait so long to get an MPC, you may ask? This is my first modern MPC, and basically the Key 37 made me want to get one. The reason is because of the form factor. For me, I wanted to get an MPC a while ago. If you guys don't know, on this channel, I used to do MPC beats tutorials. So I've done a whole bunch of them, and I used to do them for a while. But I never did get a modern MPC because I just wanted something with keys. For me, it was kind of hard to talk myself into getting a live or getting an MPC one when they don't have keys. And ultimately, I love keys. I'm more of a created from scratch than a sample producer. But I still did want an MPC because I wanted to have the option to sample and use it as a standalone device, so I could run my synthesizers and all that stuff into it. So I seen that the MPC Key 61 came out. Honestly, guys, I could have got an MPC Key 61, but I just didn't because the board was too big and I couldn't figure out how I was going to use it in my workflow. For me, this one came out and it was absolutely perfect. I know there's been a lot of people complaining about the MPC 37 and wondering why AKAI did make this board instead of making a new flagship or doing a bunch of updates and stuff like that. But honestly, they made this board for people like me. People who want to produce music sitting on the couch, maybe laying down, maybe just want a smaller board because it's going to fit into their studio. People who wanted an MPC but wouldn't get an MPC before because it didn't have keys. I know a lot of people will say, well, you could have got a Midi keyboard and hooked it up and all that other stuff, but some people just didn't want to mess with that. Or like, I don't, it's too much work for me to be sitting on a couch and to be having a Midi keyboard in my lap while I have an MPC live sitting in front of me and all that other stuff. So this board is perfect for that. As we take a look here at the board, you're gonna see that this board is red. So I know it turned a lot of people off when they got the board, but for me, I probably like the board so much because it's Windy City Red. You already know I love the Bulls, so I'm typically a guy who would want something to be black, or maybe gray or something like that in the studio. I'm pretty typical, pretty standard, but I do like the color of this red once I got it. So as we take a look again at the board, things that you're gonna notice about this board that might be a little bit different from other MPCs or just other keyboards in general from the MPC perspective, the pads right here are just a little bit smaller than the pads on an MPC Live or something like that. For me, it's not a big deal because, I'm not fumbling over. I don't need that super big pad. I could use this, but the pads do feel good. Let me say this too while I speak about these pads. I have had an AKAI MPK 49. That was my first MIDI board. I love the board. I love the key action on there, but I absolutely hated the pads because they were super stiff. These pads are nothing like those pads. Then as we take a look here a little more at the board, you'll see here the keys are just a little bit shorter than a typical keyboard. So it's not very much. It's like a finger length. So it's like a tip of a finger length, shorter than some regular keys. But that's all good. I don't know who really needs to stretch all the way up there to hit the keys. When you're hitting the buttons and everything over here, so these buttons are super clicky. So as you can hear, the buttons are clicky. I guess I'm not sure if that's going to come up in post because I might have to gate that out, just depending on the background noise I get. But you can see these buttons are clicky and everything, and that's pretty cool. You're going to get your pitch and your mod wheel over here too as well. These right here are endless encoders, so they go forever, as you can see. Pretty solid, you know. Again, I can't stress enough, this is a really good board. Something else that I want to point out and show you guys is that I don't have a small MIDI keyboard, but I do have this Novation base station. And as you guys can see here, compared to the Novation base station, really this thing is like, you know what I'm saying, not that much bigger than like a Novation base station. And this is a 25 key synthesizer. So it's not really that much bigger than that keyboard. So that just lets you know kind of the form factor if you have one of those boards or something like that. So in this video today, I'm not really going to do a cookup or anything like that. There's a bunch of different cookups that you can get on the internet. I kind of wanted to focus more on talking about the things that I like about the MPC and some of the cons on the MPC. And then I'm going to go through some of the sounds, because if you've never got one of these MPCs or you've never used MPC software or anything like that, you may be wondering what sounds are going to actually come with this board. So I'm going to kind of go through some of those, not all of them, but I'm going to go through a few of the presets just so that you can see what you get. I also want to add, with this board, you are going to get a voucher for a free plugin of your choice from AKAI. I will let you know that they do not offer Fabric XL as one of the plugins that you can get. It made me extra sad because that's what I wanted, but it is a collection of plugins, so I can understand why they don't give it out. I will also let you know that there is going to be an issue when you go ahead and you get that free voucher, because you're going to enter all your information in. And for me, what happened was I entered all my information in on my MPC key to the website. And then once I did that, I didn't get the voucher for the free plugin for a minute. So it took a minute for it to even register the NPC into the InMusic site. And then it took ultimately about 14 hours. But after 14 hours, when I woke up the next morning, the voucher was in my account. So it took me about 14 hours to get the voucher. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that too, because I know a lot of people have been having issues there trying to get the voucher. So again, a lot of people have complained about this board and about it being a 37 key, and how come they don't make the next, you know, iteration of AKAI MPCs and stuff like that. Well, let me say this, you know, we don't complain when Arturia makes a 25 key keyboard, a 37 key keyboard, a 49 key keyboard, a 61, you know what I'm saying, an 88 and all that. We don't complain about that because we know that there's different sizes for different people. So I feel like all of the people out there complaining about AKAI not giving us that, I feel like that's not really that big of an issue. You know, this is a different size for different folks. And as you can see, I'm somebody who could have got an MPC 61 and I stayed away from it because it wasn't the right size for me. So that's just something to consider out. We can't be mad at AKAI for trying to reach out to more people and getting more people into their ecosystem. Also, people are complaining about it doesn't have a battery in it, so you're going to have it plugged in. It doesn't have speakers, which a lot of people want. It doesn't have it only has 2 gigabytes of RAM. That's something that people are complaining about. It also doesn't have the slot for you to add your SSD, you know, expansion into the back. All you can do is add an SD card into the back. But for $899, I feel like we can't be complaining about those things, because you're going to get the MPC and you're going to get the keyboard with that. So if you wanted them to add a speaker to this, a battery, a spot for the SSD in the back, now we're looking at more than what the price is for the Live 2, because the Live 2 is $1299. So that's just something to think about before we complain about things that we don't get on the board. How would it look if they put all that on this board and then they were still selling the Live 2? Or for all the Live 2 customers, they would all be mad too. So I feel like for $899, this board has everything that it needs in it, because it has your keys, it has your pads, it has plugins, it has all the controls of a modern MPC, which makes this thing, you know, an absolute beast. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the stuff that you are gonna get in this MPC Key 37. So once you start it up and you get it going, it is going to look like this. It's going to bring you to this page first, which is going to tell you basically select demo. What we're going to do is we're going to hit empty project. And as we do that, it's going to bring up our instruments. And so as you see here, you're going to get 8 different instruments with this when you initially get it. So you're going to get hype, which is going to be basically your instruments, like, you know, pianos, guitars, all that stuff. You're going to get tube synth. You're going to get Odyssey, Selena, electric, drum synth, bassline, and Mellotron. Jura is the plugin that I got with my free voucher. So Jura is an emulation of a Juno 106, in case you don't know. We're gonna go ahead and start here with Hype though. So boom, as we hop into Hype, you're gonna see here, you're just gonna get a bunch of different instruments. We're gonna go ahead and scroll over it, and there's gonna be like your realistic sounding instruments, some synth sounds, all that good stuff. Just go ahead and hop into pianos first. And these are just some of the sounds you're gonna get. But you're gonna get all kinds of different pianos in here. Basic piano. And they give you a bunch of different pianos too, which is pretty solid, you know what I'm saying? So you get a lot of different stuff you can use. But then you're gonna get a bunch of different sounds as well. I always tap these little knobs over here. I'm not used to them yet. When I'm trying to mess with this, it's kind of funny. But we'll go ahead and go back, and as you see here, you're just gonna get all kinds of different stuff. You know, you're gonna get different subs and stuff. That sub knocks. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna get a bunch of cool stuff like that in there. You know, a whole bunch of sounds. You'll get some bells and stuff like that. We're just picking all this stuff at random. Digibells. But you know, as you can see here in Hype, you just get a whole bunch of good stuff. You get choirs. You know, organs. As you can see there, you're gonna get a bunch of good stuff. You got tube synth over here. So you know, you got all kinds of different synth sounds that you can pick. So we're just gonna pick some of these at random as well. Like these synth horns. So what's cool about this too is it's really easy to edit instruments. You can come right there and then boom, you got your oscillators and everything's touchscreen. So, you know, bam, bam, you can mess with everything touchscreen. I'm pretty sure most of you guys know that already. One thing that I don't know how to do yet is switch back over properly. So I just got to push sounds and hit tube synth. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys know how to change it and just go back from that menu. You've got Odyssey right here, which is going to be some more synth sounds for you. So let's go ahead and pick some of these at random. So as you can see there, you get some, you know, some synth sounds. Probably not my favorite plugin of them all, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Then you have Solina, and these are basically your strings. So there are some solid strings here, and there are some strings that, you know, are just, you know, okay. You got Mellotron right here. So this is basically going to be like Mellotron sounding stuff. You got this flute. And then with Mellotron, you get a lot of strings over here too as well. So, you know, you can come over here and listen to some of these strings. And you can hear it's got the sound of like the Mellotron there too as well. So, you know, you get that extra clicky noise there as well. You got bass line. This is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, this is going to be basses. You know what I'm saying? So with this one, I do feel like you do have to mess around with it a little bit to get the sound that it is that you want, which is cool, but you know, you just have to play with it a little bit. So, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty good for your basses. You know, basically all the sounds that they give you are going to cover all your basses. They give you some kicks, some snares, some sounds like that in here as well. We're not really going to go through those. Not going to lie to you guys. My favorite part about it is that they give you drum kits and you get to put your drum kits in there. So are we going to use the drums in the MPC, or are we going to get those EA ski cut through the mix drums and put them in here and make them smack, just being real? So we got an electric right here for like electric piano. So, you know, you got an electric piano plug-in. And then, you know, you can make it sound, it's got different effects, but the same pianos basically. Turn it up one. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty solid there as well. So those are the sounds that you're gonna get. I would highly recommend this Jura, because this Jura, like I said, it's gonna have some fire sounds in here. You know what I'm saying? So a whole bunch of fire stuff. I love these ARPs in here. It's got some pretty fire ARPs. You know, just some fire sounds, plucks, everything that you need really is in here. You know, especially a lot of these 80 sounds they have in here. I really like this cloud piano. I was messing with this a lot yesterday. So just tons and tons and tons of sounds. So as you guys can see there, you're just gonna get a whole bunch of sounds with this thing. And then another thing that I wanted to show you guys too is not only do you get those plugins here with the MPC Key 37, you're also gonna get all these drum kits. So as you look right here, you're gonna get all kinds of 80s kits, acoustic kits, bass house kits, trap. I mean, look at all these kits that they give you. They give you a whole bunch of kits to get going. And a lot of these kits are pretty solid. So, you know, as you see, I'm still scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. All these kits are going to come free with the MPC. So as you can see, you get a whole bunch of different sounds. You get a lot to work with this thing. For me, in case you don't know, I do have a bunch of boards, and I can't stress enough, this thing for me is solid because now I can run like MIDI through my boards. And then I can control all my boards with this keyboard. And that's not something that I could do on a previous, you know, MPC like a Live or a One or the 3000, 4000, all that other stuff. I would have to hook up another MIDI controller, which is something that I'm just not, you know, interested in doing, to be honest. So for me, this thing is great. Again, I know we complain about a lot of things in this world, and unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people complain about the fact that AKAI should have put the old converters in this thing or whatever, and it's just not something that's realistic. Like, I do feel like the old converters sound better than the new converters, but we can't expect for them to put, you know, the old converters in a $900 board. That just doesn't make sense, especially when they already have flagship boards out. So I feel like this board is absolutely perfect because you can take it with you anywhere that you want to go. It's going to come with sounds equipped. You get a voucher to be able to get whatever it is that you want to grab as far as a plug-in. You know, it's got decent pads, it's got decent keys. I feel like the key bed is decent. I've seen people complain about they're mad because AKAI is using maybe some recycled stuff on this, and not saying recycled as an old, but keys that they're using on old boards or pads that they're using on other boards, or the screen's the same size or whatever it is. But you guys have to realize this is just another version of an MPC. You know what I'm saying? This is no different, like I said earlier, than Arturia making a 25, a 37, or 49 key keyboard. This is AKAI's attempt at doing that. You know, all companies do that. Novation does it with their keyboards. Native Instruments does it with their keyboards. So I feel like instead of complaining because AKAI is trying to reach out and get more people to be MPC heads, I feel like you should embrace it if you're an MPC head. If this board isn't for you, that's fine. But it's not fair to bash them because they didn't make the board that you want to make. They can't always make everything just specifically for somebody who has a flagship. At some point, they need to do what's right for them as a company, and they need to start making more affordable stuff so more people can get in with AKAI. One thing I'll also say that if you did follow the channel before, or if you picked up my content from any MPC content, like any MPC Beats content, well, you're in luck, because I'm definitely going to get back to doing some of that content for you guys so that you guys can see it, so that you guys can get it on the channel, and so that I can give it to you guys, because I can't stress enough. I did enjoy doing the MPC content, but FL Studio, that's always going to be my baby. That's always going to be my main DAW. But I do love the MPC, and I do want to get back to doing more MPC content. I know I was all over the place here with this video, but I just wanted to kind of give my initial thoughts after having it for about 48 hours. As somebody who's never had a modern MPC, why I would get it. Is this for everybody? Maybe not. But is this for somebody who just wants to get into the AKAI MPC ecosphere? I absolutely believe it is. So make sure, if you guys do like this content though, you drop a whole elbow on that like button, hit subscribe and that notification bell, so every time we bring you guys a new video, you can be the first to see. Appreciate you guys' time as always, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Some, hit the key.